In regard to healthcare, it seems to me that, from what I'm reading, is that they're unlikely to go solely through reconciliation because they're going to want to put in a replacement bill of some sort of bare bones thing that's going to talk about access and going to basically cut a lot of people out, like myself, out. What I'm wondering is, when the Republicans come to Democrats and they say, look, we have a replacement here, you can either vote for it, or you can all vote against it, and you can filibuster it, in which case we'll use reconciliation to repeal, and we won't replace. So it's up to you. And if you don't vote for it, you're the ones that are cutting off everyone's health insurance. Are you going to be able to deal with that, or are some people going to, especially in Trump states like North Dakota, are they going to fold and go along with that so that they get the 60?
Reminds me a little bit of the somebody who's a better historian than me would remember the exact phrase, but when President Lincoln was giving one of his famous speeches about slavery, he said, well, in that fight, they were talking about back to the Supreme Court, he said, imagine a highwayman sticks a gun to your head and then blames it on you if he has to shoot you because you didn't deliver the goods. That's a little bit what you're describing. Let me just go back and reframe the question just slightly so everybody understands what's going on. In the Senate, most things have to go through 60 votes. In order to head off a filibuster, there's a thing called filing cloture that the majority leader does, and to get cloture, which prevents filibusters and enormous floor delays, then you got to get to 60 votes. And if you can't, then you're back into the soup again, and we have much advantage. The one exception to that rule is a budget process. It was set up years ago in the Budget Act, and what you can do is bring through the budget process what is called a reconciliation bill, and it gives instructions to committees, in essence, to cut the deficit and to cut the debt. Well, they've used it to basically provide a vehicle to knock off Obamacare, because if you're following the reconciliation process, all you need is 51 votes. So they have two problems with the reconciliation process. One, a bunch of the stuff that they're probably going to propose won't qualify. So that puts them in a pickle. But two, and this is where it gets really tough for them, they can't get 51 votes for anything right now. They have a very significant problem, because I think there are enough Republican senators who won't vote for repeal without replace that they can't pass repeal. They're simply not going to be able to do it. And then you say, okay, so now let's figure out what replace is going to look like. And they can't agree on that. And then even if they could agree on that, they can't agree on how you pay for it. So, I don't know if you remember Animal House, where the band goes into that dead-end camp, that dead-end street. That's kind of where they are right now, only it's just worse for everybody. It's not funny because everybody's health care depends on it, but they have gone down that dead-end street, and I don't know how they're ever going to get themselves back out. So our job, I believe, in the Senate is to say, we're not even going to discuss this whole thing with you. We're not going to throw any lifelines to you until you have sat down and done the responsible thing, which you've had 7.5 years to get ready to do, which is to show us what your replace is. Don't expect me to throw Rhode Islanders on health care out of the airplane with you saying, trust us, we'll build the parachute as they fall, and before they hit, oh boy, we'll have a good one ready for you. Right now, I don't see how they can win this fight. I don't see how they get out of that dead-end street. I think what's going to ultimately end up happening is they have to throw in the towel on repeal and come back to us and say, okay, what do we need to do? And then we start having a grown-up discussion about how to further improve health care, not this political repeal and replace nonsense.